guys, so today's topic is a little bit different and a little bit more boring than my usual topics, but today I am going to share with you guys my study tips. And the reason why I'm filming this video right now is because last year this time I needed a video like this to just like come around and show me how to study, because I was terrible at it. I had my exams 2 weeks ago. I know that 8th graders had their exams this past week and that 9th graders are having their exams this week in our school. So I think it just kind of like depends on countries and states and kind of where you are. But I know that exam time is approaching and that we need to get serious and start studying. So I have gathered around a list on my phone and I'm just going to be sharing it with you guys. By the way, I'm not saying that these will work for everybody, but these are just some things that work for me, and I am really lazy. Like, it takes me a long time to actually go ahead and revise, but when I learn, I guess I learn fast. Like, I read it once and then it's in my head, unless it's like German vocabulary or something that I need to know like exactly. It just needs to get in my head without thinking. That I just cannot do. So yeah, anyways, I'm just rambling as usual, so without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I would advise you guys to do is to make lists. I'm like a huge list person. I love making lists, and there's just something about making lists that is so satisfying, and like you check it off and you do it. It's just really great. So just write down the things that you have to do that day, like revise chemistry and then like do this homework in like English and then do that in French and stuff like that, and just write it down. And when you're done with that, just like cross it off, and at the end of the day you will see if you have succeeded or not to complete your list. And don't go like too harsh on you. Like, don't go like I will make like 2 pages of like to-do lists. That's just not happening. But like, do smaller things, and like I like to do a main list and then like a smaller list where I write down like, oh, you could do this if you're down, or you could do that if you're down. But I'm not like going too harsh on myself. So definitely lists are amazing. And this tip doesn't apply to everyone. I know that a lot of my friends love to take breaks when they're studying, but if I take a break while I'm studying, I'm not going back to studying. Like, it is just not happening for me. So whenever I take a break, it is just like a break, and then there's like a little tiny thing that I have to do. Otherwise, like, breaks are not working for me. I will just go on my computer for 15 minutes, which will turn out into like 3 hours. So breaks are probably not that good of an idea. And same with like whenever I come from school, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this and that and that, and then I will do whatever I want to do. It's not like, oh, I just came from school, so I will not do anything for 15 minutes and then get back to working. If I just starting anything else than studying, I will most probably not study that day. This is like a very quick tip. Homework, just note your homeworks down. I know that some guys in my class just don't note their homeworks down, and then they have detention, and that is pretty annoying. And yeah, just note your homeworks down. And like, if you don't want to do it, okay, don't do it. That's just your choice. If you're gonna get a detention, whatever. But the worst feeling is that like you just come in class and you didn't know that there was a homework to do. Like, that is horrible. That is just awful. So just note your homeworks down and then decide whether or not you want to do them. Whenever I revise, I like to have my phone next to me, like just listening to music, but in airplane mode, just because like there's just going to be a message popping up on WhatsApp or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, I have to reply, it's really important. Then I will reply, and then I'm like, oh, let's check out what's happening on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Pinterest. And then I find myself putting pictures of cute little dogs on my Pinterest. So yeah, just put your phone on airplane mode. If you want to check it out, I don't know, every 20 minutes, it's fine. But tell yourself that you have to continue studying rather than being on your phone putting cute puppy pictures. I love to do summaries when I'm revising, because I'm not the kind of person who's gonna like get in front of the piece of paper and then like start reading it and it's just gonna get in my brain. Now I have to write it down, and it's not like, okay, I will just write down some points. I like to make it all pretty and like underline things. And the newest thing that I discovered are, I'll show you guys, these boxes. The aunt of a friend of mine got these for me because we were talking and we were revising at her place, and she was like, oh, you should definitely check this out, and she bought me 2 of these. So basically what this is that, okay, if I can open it, it's just like a box with a piece of papers in it like these, and I just do my summaries on these and then class them on based on the subject and all the jazz. So it's really easy to revise, and whenever I want to kind of read it right before I go to bed or something, I will just like take a piece of paper out instead of like the whole book. So it's really great. And the great thing about summaries is that you're kind of revising at the same time, so it's not like, oh, I will do the summary and then I will revise. It's like you're revising while doing the summary, so it kind of like already prints in my brain, and then I just need to read it like 2 or 3 times and then it's done. So it's kind of like writing down the same thing for like to revise. And I have exams at the end of next year, so the summaries that I do now will be helpful for me next year. So they're really just awesome. I just do summaries and keep them. Do not like, oh, I'm done with this exam, I will just throw it away. Keep them and revise. Now I like to revise with friends, as I mentioned earlier, just because they just like we just push each other to revise more. But choose a friend that wants to revise. Don't choose like somebody who doesn't want to revise, because if that somebody doesn't want to revise, then you probably end up not revising and watching like 10 episodes of awkward. So just choose the person wisely. Even though if you adore your friend, if you're not going to be able to work with them, just make other plans with them instead of revising, because otherwise you will just find yourself like talking and chatting about all the gossip that is going on in your school, which is not revising. So yeah, I want to mention an app that I found, and this is not like affiliate or sponsored or whatever. It is called Quizlet, which is basically this app. Okay, it's opening. So basically you just enter words here, and then you have cards and you write them down. So those are like words in German, and then you write it down in English and German, or French and German in my case, and you just put in learn, and you just have to write down what it means, and then if you write down whatever, it's gonna tell you that it's wrong, and then you have to write it down again. So it's really great for revising vocabulary, and I suck at vocabulary. It's like terrible, like I'm really bad. So I would much rather have like I always have my phone with me, so whenever I'm in the bus or in the car stuck in traffic, I will just like take out that application and then revise. So that's really helpful if you're not a person who just wants to like sit down and revise for an hour straight. I know that there are 2 types of people. There are the people who like hear and then learn, and there are people who write down and learn. For people who hear and learn, it's maybe a tiny bit more complicated, but basically record yourself telling the lesson. Like if it's biology, I don't know, like this and this makes this, and then this and this makes this. Just like record yourself, and instead of listening to music the next time you're in the bus, listen to yourself. It's kind of like getting in your brain without you really realizing it. For people who are more in the visual sides, I am more in the visual sides, as I mentioned, have like little cards with like these, and you don't have to like take the box everywhere you go. Just like take the cards that you need, and then you can take the cards off in the bus. I don't know why I'm giving buses as an example like all the time, but basically you can just take it off and read. And yeah, so revising in the bus too. Last but not least, take notes like the week before your exam on what your teachers are insisting. The things they are insisting on are the things that are going to be in your exam, because they had done the exam and they know what's in it. Just like draw little doodles on what's important and what's not, and like highlight things that are important. Revise more what they told you about in class rather than what they just like let go, but still revise what they let go. But like instead of reading, I don't know, 10 times, read it twice, and then read like what's really important 20 times or something like that. So yeah, that's all of my tips. I hope it was helpful. Let me know in the comments below when your exams are, and I will talk to you guys in my next video, I guess.